Hey guys, and welcome to my first tank review. I thought it would be fitting that my first review would be the first new tank of the new year. So today we're taking a look at the new Tier 8 Czechoslovakian Tank Destroyer, the ShPTK-TVP 100, or as I'm going to call it, the ShPTK. So what's this tank all about? Well, in short, it's an atypical glass cannon with insane DPM capabilities and a great combination of mobility and camo to make it one sneaky relocator. But that's the short review. Let's break that down, starting with the gun on this tank. The 100mm armament on the ShPTK has an alpha of a normal 250 damage, but it's the rest of the gun statistics that really make it shine. With its very good pen for a Tier 8 of 270 standard AP pen and 330 premium heat pen, the only tank that beats it in pen at this tier is the Sturv S1 with its own 288 standard pen. The pen alone makes it one beast of a tank, and the good pen doesn't even end there. Its HE pen is 100. With an alpha of 420, this HE absolutely destroys tanks. Not only because it can pen well, but because of this tank's reload. It has a base reload of 5.8 seconds. So with its 250 alpha ammo, its DPM at base level is 2,585. But with HE, it's a whopping 4,343. With everything that can better your reload on this tank, we can get it down to a 4.23 second reload. Meaning we pump up that DPM to 3,545 with its 250 alpha shells, and with HE, it goes as high as 5,956. Now you do have to pen with HE for those kinds of DPM values, but with 100mm of pen, you can make that work against a good number of tanks. But the gun's power doesn't even end there, because its base accuracy is a very respectable 0.32, which I got down to 0.26, and its aim time is fantastic at 1.3 seconds, which is very noticeable how quickly the circle shrinks, even after top speed movements. There are a few things the gun has going against it. One being its shell speed, which isn't terrible. But when this is a tank for sniping, sub 900 shell speed on your AP and sub 800 on your heat can cause some misses on tanks that either are on the move, or tanks that are backing into cover and your shell just isn't quick enough to catch them before they do. Surprisingly, the HE is the fastest round, but only by 3 more meters per second than the AP, at exactly 900. Another thing is its accuracy during movement, which is now a statistic we can see in game. It's a staggering 4.22 base, and even with everything I have on it, it's still above 3. But you want to be sniping in stationary anyway, so it's only really a problem if you're going for those 6.0 shots on the move. The last thing is its gun depression. It only has 6 degrees of gun depression, which is definitely workable, but also a limiting factor for sure, and something to definitely know when you're in tight situations that require poking ridges. Before we get into the rest of the tank, we should probably mention my setup. Because this is a tank destroyer, it cannot get vert stabs to make it more accurate. And because it is also an open top vehicle, it cannot get vents. Which honestly, if it could, it'd be pretty ridiculous. But because of these limitations on equipment, the setup is quite an easy choice. I'm rocking optics, rammer, and a camo neck. You can switch out optics if you please for, I don't know, mobility or something, but there's definitely no need for a gun laying drive with how good its aim time is to begin with. Consumables are your typical setup for most tanks in my eyes. A premium repair kit, food, and a standard med kit. You could go for a premium med kit, but I've yet to have my crew die. So, it's a good gun, and an easy to identify setup. How's the mobility and camo I mentioned in the beginning? Well, it's got a top speed of 55, which is pretty nice with a power to weight of 21.88, making it fairly mobile. Its still concealment isn't the best at 333 base when you compare it to the likes of the Panzerjäger with its 304 meters base concealment, or the Sturv S1's 278 meters, or even the Canonian Jagdpanzer's 281 meters, but it is much better than the likes of the Scorpion's 380. And you can get it down to a respectable 245 meters with my setup. It does, however, have 370 meters base view range, which is better than all the tanks before mentioned, besides the Panzerjäger, which shares the same 370 meters. This means that it has a better capability to spot people further out for itself than those with less, obviously, making its steal concealment much less of a negative when its range is better than most and the gap between the two is still quite big. Another thing you have to think about is most of those tanks have 105mm to 128 and 130mm caliber guns, which means that when they fire, their camo breaks in a larger percentage than that of the 100mm gun that the ShPTK has. Mentioning all those tank destroyers brings me to our next point, it being an atypical glass cannon. I say atypical because most glass cannons are heavy hitters. The SU-130PM hitting for 520, the Scorpion hitting for 490, the Canonian Jagdpanzer 105 hitting for 390, the Iron Rain having an autoloader with 490 alpha, and the Tech Tree Borsig even having the option for a 750 alpha gun. All of these tanks are glass cannons. They hit hard, but are easily susceptible to HE, as the thickest part of their armor is only 20 to 30 millimeters thick. The ShPTK is much less about hitting hard and more about hitting a lot, and its armor isn't as easily susceptible to HE as you might think. This tank looks like paper, right? But its upper and lower plates and the front panel of the turret are 65 millimeters thick. The panels to the left and the right are 60 and 50 millimeters thick as well. Most HE pens are around 48 to 60 millimeters of pen, meaning that most tanks HE will have a hard time going through the front of this tank, with all those angles as well. And that includes the other glass cannons. While those tanks are easily penned by the ShPTK's HE from any angle, they will find it not so easy to pen the ShPTK with their HE. And this thing is even capable of side scraping to a degree. With its 40mm side armor, anything below a 122mm will not overmatch it. However, I still wouldn't recommend trying it, as the slope of the skirt is sloped in the enemy's favor, with it being only 10mm directly above the track and sloped upwards towards the enemy. Tanks can shoot your drive wheel and go through you that way. So even though it has side armor theoretically capable of side scraping, I wouldn't try it intentionally. Another quick thing to mention is that it has a traversable turret, but it's not as slow as the Scorpion or the Borsig's traverse speeds, or even limited like the SU-130PM. It has 34 traverse speed and a full 360 degrees of rotation. With all that being said, what are my thoughts on the tank? Well, it's definitely not the best tank destroyer at tier 8. It's still a contender for a top spot. I know most people play tank destroyers for their big guns that hit hard and then disappear again, and this one might not fit most people's liking, with its smaller damage in a single shot. But it definitely makes up for that with DPM and a powerful HE round. One tank that's comparable to it is the Panzerjäger, and I would say that that tank is much easier to make work, with its better concealment, smaller caliber gun for roughly the same DPM, but less concealment break when firing, its faster speed, and 10 degrees of gun depression. The Panzerjäger definitely beats this tank in ease of use and capabilities. But what it's missing is that insane HE with good pen and insane reload. And also, the caliber difference between the two allows the ShPTK to overmatch all 30mm plates like on the side of a machine, whereas the Panzerjäger would not with its 90mm. So there's definitely still reasons to play the ShPTK over the Panzerjäger, and frankly, the ShPTK is much more of an enjoyable and interesting tank to play in my eyes. So that's the breakdown of the ShPTK. Let's get into some gameplay, shall we? I have 3 games to show you guys today. First up, we have a loss on Redshire. And now you might be wondering, why am I showing you a loss in the first game? Well, simple. This game really shows just the day-to-day gameplay you're going to have with this tank. You're sitting in the back, you're sniping, you're missing shots because of the low shell speed at long distances, and like I said, people getting into cover before your shell can reach them and whatnot. But you're still having a decent game. And I utilize the mobility to get out of a situation that would have killed me sooner. Kind of spoiling the end of this game, I suppose, but the other reason I'm showing you this game is because I utilized that HE in a scenario that, had I not, I also again would have died sooner. So, despite it being a loss, and not being, you know, carrying the game or anything, it still highlights parts of this tank that are noteworthy, right? So, we'll just start here at the beginning with hitting directly for our alpha on the first shot against this Charlemagne. And we're sniping at him from 500 meters plus. And I'm trying to hit the side of his turret since he's looking the other way. But this tree, knocking down trees and providing your own cover is one way to stay stealthy. And noticing most of my team went over there on that right side means I kind of want to snipe for them. But because it's team destruction, right? We don't get to fight on the 9-0 line. And so that kind of means that our 5 tanks over on the 1-2-3 line kind of won those hills already. So there's really no reason for me to go and sit on the 1 line to try and snipe people there. Instead, I'm going to snipe people trying to come across and shoot our heavy tanks down here. Because they have to poke these ridges up top, right? So it gives me shots. And there's one that misses into the Charlemagne, and I'm really trying to mess this guy up. But the beginning of this game really just is sniping. And, I mean, it's a tank destroyer, so what do you expect, right? Some good shots, though, here and there. Some bad ones as well. Remember, the HE is the shell that is the fastest on this tank, which is honestly surprising to me, but it's only, again, by 3 meters per second, so it's not that much of a difference. But I'm used to tanks with more than 1,000 or 1,000 shell speed, especially my tank destroyers. Like, my favorite tank destroyer would probably be the Sturv and the Panzerknacker, which I know for sure they both have more than 1,000 shell speed and APCR shells. So, despite this thing having really high pen, the shells being slow really doesn't do it for me. But I still love this tank. We're going to get a nice shot on the back of that Tiger II there. He's just long enough that when he poked out and I shot, my shell was slow enough to still catch his rear. Just barely, too. And that's the kind of stuff you have to know when your shell speed isn't 1,000. Now that shot, I can't explain how that one hit, but this Vanguard is just going to give me the easy kill, so that's nice. And he doesn't spot me. Which I'm surprised, because I didn't pull back or anything, because I couldn't pull back. Because again, 6 degrees of gun depression, I kind of really have to sit in this bush. I can't sit behind this, well, it's not a bush, but the tree. I can't sit behind it, because I don't have the gun depression to do so. And we're losing. Even though I said those 5 tanks kind of won that area, they're not winning it. And I'm going to notice that very soon here. But I am going to try and take out this light tank, and I do. And that time I get spotted. I don't know the view range differences between the Vanguard and the HMH-58. But I suppose the HMH-58 was more suited to be a light tank in this match. I do start moving over here. We kind of pulled it back, now 6-8. But I noticed that heavy tank is being circled now. And he's dead, right? I'm going to get a shot on the Fatherland. And it's a burn, a really nice burn. And for those of you who know my situation with the Fatherland, you know that burn made me really happy. To see a Fatherland burn like that made me really happy. What's going to make me even more happier is that he's giving me more shots. And he's actually going to give me the kill. Because I guess he doesn't realize or expect a gun that reloads this fast. With food active there, you saw it was 3.9 seconds. That's wild. But now that he's dead and my light tank's being pushed, I'm going to use my mobility to get the hell out of here. And that tank destroyer, if you're watching on the minimap, he's moving kind of like at the same speed as me. So I'm really hoping, cutting across this open field, that he doesn't poke over the ridge there and spot me. It's down 4-6. And, again, I already kind of spoiled the ending. You know this is a loss. But, man, did this game have me really, really hoping for a win. Because in a moment here, you're going to see a full health 7.52 crossing out in the open. An ISM with a stock turret, I believe. But our Boghor is on 16 hit points. Whatever I just passed over there is half health. And I'm not top tier either. Look at all their HPs. They're all low. And an auto-loading Russian Tier 9 top-tier heavy tank is on its way. And they don't even... And my light tank just died, which is surprising to me. I didn't even realize he was alive for so long. Unless that noise... I think I made a mistake there. No, that light tank kill is just sitting there in my kill feed for whatever reason. I heard an explosion and looked at the kill feed and thought it was that. But we do get a kill. We're bringing it back to like 4 to 5. But there's still a full health Tier 9 Russian auto-loading heavy tank who can clip me out. So even though I have the most HP, I cannot tank and survive even one tank that's on its way. And now I know what the tank destroyer is. It's a Canonian Jagdpanzer 105. And remember when I told you that that thing is a glass cannon susceptible to HE. So what do? I load HE. I hope he's going to come around, but he's probably not. And my team is dying behind me now. So I either have to make a push here or help my team out. And the way he was kind of driving kind of suggested to me that he was going to come over that rock and hope that I wasn't looking his way again. But another teammate dies. Barask is coming in. 110 has 600 HP. He tracks the Barask so that I hit his gun. Unfortunate there. So I don't pen with my HE, but I still do a 164 splash, which is nice because it's 420 alpha and it's a light armored tank. And there he goes. So I'm at 4,000 damage, right? 3 kills, 4,000 damage, 1 versus 5. But again, I already spoiled it. It's a loss. But here you are, 30 millimeters of armor on this Canonian Jagdpanzer, and he's dead within 4 seconds. Unfortunately, he did get a shot off, and I'm at 4.7k damage now. This Barask, I miss. 164 splash again, 291 ram damage. He's not one-shottable if I didn't have HE. Pen that HE shot. Whiff this one because I don't know what I was thinking, but that 7.52 got around. This situation really piqued my interest with this tank, how it was able to do what it just did there at the end of the battle. And I come in third, and I picked up 1,400 damage within mere seconds at the end of that battle. 5 kills, 1311 XP for a first class on a loss. That's what this thing is capable of. Had I hit that light tank, right, and got forward enough, I could have continued to play that and outspot the heavy tanks, you know. And there might have been a chance for a really high damage ace tanker Kolobanov's game, but unfortunately not. We're going to move on to the next game, though, which is also Redshire. And we're instantly starting in at the end because, boy, was this a hectic game as well. This time it was standard battle. I played the same position as the first game, but clearly didn't do as well, only having 2,300 damage and just getting a shot off on the Sturm Tiger B there. P, not B. I tried looking for that Leopard, but he's unavailable, and this Barask is coming in. I wish I shot there because he was driving in a straight line, and he's close enough that my shell speed would have hit that. But I instead decide, let's rush him. Again, he's kind of driving in a straight line, but you can see my shell, even if he was driving in a straight line, would have missed. I do kill him before he gets his gun around, and now I'm kind of out in the open. And if you notice there, I had a 432, and now he's dead. And what's shooting me in my rear, I thought was the Sturm Tiger P that I was shooting at earlier, but it's a one-shot Oods. So I try and take him out, but oh no! Half of his tank went behind the building, and I missed. And he shoots me again. So now I'm 396 HP against 4 real tanks while only having 2 artillery backup. How am I going to get out of this? 257 is one shot. But do I make this connection? No. I actually bounced that shot as well. Unfortunate. My arty didn't kill him either. But I have to kind of play with the arty now and hope that they shotgun whatever's going to rush us. We know Sturm Tiger P is low. We know the Oods is one shot. The 257 is one shot. We saw the PTA, and I think he was at what? 280 or 380 or something like that. Something ending in 80 if I'm not mistaken. So he's not a one shot unless I HE pen him. But I'm not going to take that risk. And there he is. I didn't quite catch how much HP he has. 280 I think it was. Yes. Missed this shot, but now I load the heat for him. Arty does shotgun him. I don't know if this PTA shot HE at me, but he didn't pen if he did. I think he did because his small gun is 240 alpha, and he half-healthed me, which wouldn't have been 240 alpha. So he doesn't pen me with HE. Like I said, an atypical tank destroyer. I love the 2 holes in my rear as well. But I got a heat round into him, so now he's one shot. My arty's going out, and he's going to die in a moment. But the Udes pokes around, and I kind of knew that that was going to happen, but he doesn't get his shot off. I one-shot him. The Leopard thinks, oh, he fired. So I kill him too, and the 257 is like, oh, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, and he's dead as well. Easy Reaper medal. Man, they totally underestimated my DPM, my reload. And now I risk a shot here. I know the Sturm Tiger's not one shot, but in a moment here, I'm going to outspot him. And now I see that he's one shot if I pen him with HE. And if you can see, I'm checking out in third person, right? He's kind of beelining it to the A1 corner, right? So I'm going to poke up around him. And, oh, there's a building in front of him. But actually, no, I'm above it. And with an orange reticle, I pen my HE round to one-shot him. And I clutch up a 1 versus 4 scenario there with my insane DPM and the final shot being an HE pen. Because of that 100 millimeters of pen, I was able to secure the kill in one shot. Rather than playing around with a Sturm Tiger P, he's gone. So easy Reaper medal. In fact, it was 4 shots, 4 kills at the end there. For 1688 base XP. So, all of those games were pretty close scenarios, right? Well, for those of you who watch me over on Twitch, link in the description, you'll know how this one ends. And unfortunately, because this one happened over on Twitch, well, 1, it's a spoiler for those who've already seen it. 2, I wasn't recording yet again. I need to figure that out. I definitely do. How to record games solely, just the games, while streaming, but right now I don't have that. So we're utilizing the replay system yet again, which I still wish they would fix. But that's not the point of this video. Let's not harp on that today. Instead, I missed a pretty crucial shot there. Pretty good one. Through the crack of this rock, I hit the Legion on the other side of the map. I believe I have 2 shots worth of damage right now. Because again, in the replay system, you don't get to see your damage. But this light tank is giving us a problem. But my platoon mate, Scareface, thank you, kills the light tank out of his own render range. And it took 2 shots. So, what a god there. So I'm going to run over here to this side. And this is your typical, you know, sniper gameplay on El Haluf. Yeah, I'm not over there where the Borsig is. But usually you get blind fired there, and I wasn't about to have that today. Instead, I wanted to come over here and kind of, you know, snipe on these hills. But the light tank and these 2 tanks below us were quite aggressive. Unfortunately, too, the replay system isn't showing the top left of the map, the players there, but I could see them in the game, trust me. And so what I'm doing is I'm making my way to the Borsig now to help Scareface. Because we're losing the top left corner. And I'm doing the long way because if I cut out in front of these guys, they'd probably explode. So I'm doing it safely, and I'm coming around and see that the Borsig's not even helping him. So it's up to me. And hopefully they pop in here in a second. If not, I don't know what I'm really going to do. But yeah, you can see Scareface. And he's taking some hits, T-34. I'm telling him to back up, because this angle here, they really have to be where he is for me to shoot them, which is an aggressive play, but they seem to be doing it. So, I'm going to hit the TS5 in the roof for my alpha, apparently. And he's going to back off because of it. Now, Scareface is yelling at me, like, you don't have shots, you don't have shots. I'm like, they have to really push you, dude. They have to really push you. So, he's going to make a decision to just book it. Because he's the only one over there now. That Progetto 54 and that IS-6 Black that just died were A3, I believe, or something like that. The other 2 heavy tanks are unspotted behind me for some reason. Again, this replay system really sucks, but you'll get the gist of why I'm showing you this gameplay, regardless of how janky the replay system is. So he's booking it. You can see him on the map. Completely booking it out of there. And I don't blame him. I do think he gets spotted here. Because he takes a few more hits. And he's gonna become one shot. Eventually. But I'm trying to get some shots here. And I do get spotted. Another thing with the replay system is my dotted line is not that big. So that's not accurate either. But Scareface is now a one-shot. And since he's running over here, and I noticed a Tiger 1 was coming over here, I come over here to help him. I get one shot in and call out to him that the Tiger 1 is stock. So he gets to poke and doesn't die. And he's going to take out the Tiger 1 actually. Or at least our teammates are. And there's another ShPTK in the middle of the map. So I go to shoot at him. Set him on fire. I believe that was me that set him on fire. And I am going to kill him. Tiger 1's dead, but so is Scareface. So now I don't have any platoon mates anymore. And because they're rushing our left, I'm trying to get out of here. And this slope scared me, but I made it. So that's good. My plan is to really... I want to get on their side over there, where that Legion was. That was my plan. And this TS5 catches me out. Unfortunately for him, I don't think he penned me there. But Scareface was calling out to me that an Iron Rain was up here, who was the one targeting me there. And I'm like, great, that's just great. And I'm hoping these bushes keep me concealed. Unfortunately, they don't, but I do pen. And I'm really scared about this Iron Rain. But now's the time, right? I have to make a play, because I can't sit here and just have them dogpile me. So I decide, get distance, right? This TS5's outspotting you. Get distance, come over here, and see if you can help my team when they're being pushed. Unfortunately, don't kill the AMX-65T, which is actually a good thing for me, I suppose, that I didn't kill him there. Instead, I'm going to go for this T-34, who's driving out in the open for me. And I'm not getting spotted. But I do spot the Iron Rain. And I fear that he's going to spot me. I go to look at him. Can't kill him, right? Shoot the T-34 again. Not spotted still. Now, I thought the TS5 was still alive. He's not. So, I'm making a risky play to go under the nose of this Iron Rain, who actually does poke again, and I shoot, and now he's one shot, right? And I didn't get spotted, so they still have no clue where I am. And now, just like in the first game on this video, it's a 1 versus 5 scenario. Another clutch moment. At least another clutch ability, right? So I'm driving, just trying to book it to get away from the aggressors, right? And Scareface lets me know that the TS5 is actually dead, and it's the Su-130PM, that's the other tank destroyer, who he says is with the 65T at the moment, so I should turn around and shoot the 65T. I say, no, I don't want to get spotted. So I keep going further and further and further. And the Su-130PM kills himself, just as I take out the 65T. So now it's a 1 versus 3. I don't know how much HP that Su-130PM was on. And I don't care, because he's dead now. I load HE because I want to guarantee the one-shot on this Iron Rain. Because like I said earlier, he's one of those glass cannons that my HE can pen no matter what. Unless, of course, I shoot his gun or his tracks. But even though he's 240, HP still, I want to one-shot him. And I don't think the game, the replay, has shown that I loaded HE. But I'm fairly certain I did. I might be wrong. But I'm trying to poke up on his rear and surprise him here. But he surprises me. He's moving that way. Don't get a shot. But he's going over a ridge. So as I come over here, I do get a shot off. And you can see, even though my AP thing flashed, I went from 8 HE to 7. So I did load HE. I know what I'm talking about. Replay system, get your shit together. So now I kind of want to poke up here, but they pressured the cap just a moment ago. And so I know I don't have much time here. I just wanted to see if the T-34 was pushing. Didn't spot him. Doesn't mean he's not pushing, though. I need to get over to the cap before two of them get on the cap, right? The medium is a Type 59-2 or a King Dragon. One or the other. In fact, I can check right now. It's a Type 59-2. But the T-34, he was pushing. I was right. He just had gotten a crossover enough to where I couldn't see him. So I used this tree line to make the ultimate camo, right? Doesn't spot me, but I don't think I have time to DPM him here. Especially since I had just driven over this little lip with 6 degrees of gun depression that just threw my gun in the air. And he's really fast. He's catching up to me. And now I'm out of the bush cover, so I don't want to shoot. You know, he's making a beeline for me. And if I shoot now, he's going to have shots on me. So I need to get up this hill before he has shots on me, right? So I'm not firing. I can deal with him later. I need to get to the cap, and I need to get to cover, and I need to get to safety, right? So that's the first priority. Luckily here, the Type 59-2 is visible. And after I shoot him, I am spotted, but he's one shot. I high rolled 270. He's on 206. There's no way I'm low rolling this, right? So we both have terrible gun depression. I believe he has 6 as well, maybe 5. And I don't know what he was doing there. I believe his gun was looking at me, though. Again, the replay system not showing it correctly. He was looking at me, but because he was coming over the ledge and I was already aimed at him, I got to shoot him before he got his gun down, right? And now, it's pretty simple, right? I go up the hill and I wait out the cap, right? He's going to come for the cap. He was aggressive. There's no way he's going to play passive all of a sudden, right? And that's something you do have to take into account. If he had been passive the rest of the game, if I had not known where he was, if he was not out in the open, you know, beelining it towards me, I'd probably go on their side of the map or go and try and find him in the corner. But because I know he's aggressive, I know he knows where I am, so I'll use that to my advantage. And I'll come up over here on this hill where I know I'll spot him first when he pokes around any of these corners. The only thing I'm worried about, and just as I was about to be worried about it, he poked. I was worried about him coming up over this way. I unfortunately missed that. But what he does here surprises me. I guess he doesn't realize angles, and he tries to back up into behind that rock. So I get a shot into him. I bounce that one, and he realizes he needs to pull forward. So he's going to pull forward. And again, I don't think he's going to start playing passively all of a sudden. So I'm sitting here waiting, and I load AP because I had heat loaded there, right? Just to guarantee going through his upper plate, or maybe through somewhere on his turret, luckily enough. But he's going to give me his drive wheel if he pokes out here, so I load AP to make sure I go through the tracks and it doesn't get absorbed by heat. And now it's just a patience game. And here what I was doing was I was looking away. Because if I'm not targeting him, he might over-peek to where I can snap my gun and get him, right? He knows he's spotted, but not letting him know he's targeted either might give him some information that he could think about. But I noticed he was coming this way, and I don't know where he was going. But I think he thought that I was more further north so that he could make it into our Borsig area, where the Borsig was originally. But I get to shoot him in the ass. And that is my second ever Kolobanovs. And it wasn't me waiting out a timer and assault this time. So I'm really happy about this. And let's get to the screens, yeah? So that goes for 5 kills, 4502 damage, 2041 base XP. There you have it. Those are the games, that's my thoughts, and that's the review of the ShPTK-TVP 100. Possibly going in my list of favorite tanks of 2023 already. But who knows? There's plenty of tanks to come out the rest of the year, which means more reviews. Let me know if you want to see more reviews from me, if I did it well. You can tell me in comments or just leave a like, and that'll give me enough to know that I should do more of these. Because I enjoy doing it. So I do look forward to doing some more. And they don't have to all be new tanks, right? I can do reviews of old tanks if there's nothing new out. But until then, thanks for watching this one. It was pretty lengthy. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.